And the one-to-go signal is being given. The lights on the pace car go out. Before we drop the flag, want to welcome in everybody who's listening on the radio, as Ken mentioned, especially on the internet. Big welcome to the postman, Steve Post, who's checking us out from Concord, North Carolina. So welcome, Steve Post, listening in Concord. Half a lap away from going to the green flag. I'm Alex Hayden alongside Ken Childs. 34 cars to take the green. Mike Darn, Jamie Cottle on the front row, a couple of Chevrolets. Pace car makes the hard left turn. He's behind the wall. Here we go. Green flag goes in the air, and the Thanksgiving All-Star Classic is underway. On the break, headed to turn one. Mike Darn has the advantage. They hit the 17-degree banking already.
Darn slams the door on Jamie Cottle. Car around between turns 1 and 2.
It's Tony Grady spins over between turns 1 and 2, and that will bring a caution flag out. They did try to hang on to the caution flag in hopes that Tony would be able to refire that race car, grab a gear and pull away, but he was unable to do so, and the caution will fly for the first time tonight. Tony Grady, the Raleigh, North Carolina driver, the ABC Hosiery Chevrolet, having a problem, and the car that made contact with him was the 02 car. Has cut down a right front tire. Take a halfway break at lap 100 to refuel the race cars and make necessary adjustments. They only get just a couple of moments to do that, so they will have to make adjustments quickly. One to go now as they cross the line. Southern National Motorsports Park, asphalt racetrack, yellow walls on the outside, yellow walls on the inside. It's 4/10 of a mile around. Pace car again pulls to the inside of the racetrack and behind the wall, out of harm's way. Mike Darn, the pole sitter, has the field under control. Mike here puts the green flag in the air, and we're racing at Southern National. On the break, it'll be Mike Darn, a fender out in front of Jamie Cottle, who quickly snaps in line and rides second. They're stacked up double wide for third. So Garrett Campbell moves up to position number 3. Matt McCall slides into the 4th spot. Trouble further back. Chad Kendrick gets turned around. Tommy Lemons Jr. involved in the incident. Kendrick was going to the outside. Tommy Lemons Jr. made contact with him. Both cars spin. Pretty significant sheet metal damage to the left front and the nose of Chad Kendrick's Amp Chevrolet. Kendrick, you may know the name, Chad Kendrick, crew chief at Red Horse Racing in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and he's got suspension damage on the right front corner of his car after making contact with the yellow yellow retaining wall.
Looks like Nate Monteith is on pit road. They're working on the rear end of his car. Austin Thackson's back on pit road, as is Tommy Lemons Jr. Normally we take it with 1 to go here, but with so many cars on the track, they've opted to go 2 to go, in part so not to get the cone operator to run over. Jamie Cottle is going to go to the high side. Garrett Campbell and Matt McCall both stay low. That lets Deep McCaskill scoot up a spot to 4th. Looks like Matt Boland's up there. Michael Rouse, Lee Pulliam. Justin Snow thought about it, decided to go low, as does Josh Oakley, Woody Howard. Austin Wade self's going to go up there and pick him up a few spots, as does Matt Waltz.
This is where spotters really come into play as well here in short track racing. They get an idea how many cars in front of their driver are taking the high lane or taking the low lane. So these drivers in the back of the field are laying back just a bit just to wait for their spotters to figure out which lane they're going to get the biggest advantage. Second row consists of Garrett Campbell and Deep McCaskill. Pace car behind the wall. Field coming through turns 3 and 4. Back on the gas. Green flag is in the air.
Great restart for Mike Darn. He jumps out. About a 2-length advantage over Garrett Campbell. Campbell gets to the inside of Jamie Cottle. He's going to challenge for second. It sounds like an engine's gone back in the field there. See how that pans out. Campbell up to second. Cottle the third. Battle for 4th.
Jamie Cottle laid back just a bit on the start. I believe he was trying to find an opening at the drop of the green flag to quickly snap down at the bottom of the racetrack. that lane was filled quickly by Garrett Campbell. So the front three go single file. Meanwhile, for fourth, it's hot and heavy.
Matt McCall's on the inside of Deke McCaskill. They've raced hard a few times this year at Southern National. McCaskill's always gotten the better of Matt McCall here at this particular track. McCaskill once again is going to try to get the betterment of Matt McCall. He comes down, slams the door on McCall. Brave move, holding on to fourth.
Up off of the corner, lap number 12 goes on the scoreboard. 12 out of 200 complete. It's Mike Darn by 2 car lengths, leading Garrett Campbell. Jamie Carl, another couple of car lengths back as they're knotted together from about 10th on back, Ken.
Austin Way Self is not at the inside of Lee Pulliam. Something happened to Lee Pulliam. Got a little bit loose off of turn 2. Had to check it up. Lost about 4 or 5 positions. Self's on the inside of Pulliam now. Self has run well here this year. Pulliam, though, has a win and really has won everywhere he's been. That's why he's your NASCAR National Champion for 2012.
So everybody single file for the moment through the first 7 cars, and that's where they begin to stack up double wide. Brandon Brown to the inside of Texas's Austin Self.
Brown gets a spot. Michael Rouse is behind him now. Self and Pulliam still side by side now. Pulliam's running 10th. Pulliam running 11th, Self 10th. Walt sitting 12th. Walt gets to the inside of Pulliam. Pulliam not used to being hung up on the outside. Usually he's used to leading these things. Gonna have to show some patience, but Alex, we've got 200 laps to go. Pulliam doesn't need to push it right now anyway.
Well, traditionally we have a couple of quick cautions on these big races in these short tracks, and we've had that already. Once in turn 1 of the opening green flag, and then they re-racked them and had another crash a couple of laps into the race itself. Now things have begun to settle down. The drivers, I think, have knocked off their nerves just a bit and have settled into a good race pace. For the most part, everybody's minding their P's and Q's as we clicked off 18 laps.
Brandon Brown now to the inside of Matt Bowling. That battles for 7th. Not much of a battle, though. Kind of like the charge of the light brigade. One side just really absolutely won that entire thing. Brandon Brown takes a spot from Matt Bowling, but Bowling can slam the door on Michael Rouse. That's for 8th and 9th.
Meanwhile, up front, a challenge for the number 3 position. Reigning North Carolina state champion in the NASCAR Wheeling All-American Series. That's Deke McCaskill opening up the inside lane on Jamie Cottle, who was your outside front row starter. They go now wheel to wheel down the backstretch, but Cottle able to squeeze out in front and hang on to the position.
Deke McCaskill looking uncharacteristically impatient right now, all over the back of McCall. He gets to the inside of McCall off of turn number 4. They go side by side into 1. McCall takes a spot from Cottle off to number 2. Jamie Cottle's been doing this for a very, very long time. He knows you can't win it right now in lap 21. Let McCaskill have the spot, live to fight another day.
Caution on the speedway. We've got a car in trouble over on the back straightaway. And we're going to be under the caution flag for the 3rd time in the race. Not sure exactly the number on the car. He's up against the inside retaining wall, just on the other side of the tech building from our vision over here. So we have caution on the speedway for the 3rd time. 22 laps into the event. So we got the orange cone on the racetrack, and Mike Darn will go to the inside. Quickly going to the outside was Garrett Campbell. Nobody really shuffling things up just a bit. The free pass on this caution flag will go to Tommy Lemons Jr. So Tommy Lemons Jr. will get his lap back on the free pass. He'll fall in at the tail end of the field.
Not a very far drive from the front of the field to the tail end of the field right there. About a quarter of a straightaway.
Yeah, these cars get stretched out around this racetrack rather easily. Tracking the progress of our last chance race winner, Cliff Daniels. He's been able to motor his way a little further up in the running order.
Pace car's about to make the hard left turn off of turn 4. We're about to go green again.
Pace car is behind the wall. Here they come. Mike Darn has led every lap, all 28 to this point. We've been slowed by 3 cautions, and the green flag comes back out.
Mike Darn again with a great start. Garrett Campbell's made a couple passes on the high side already. He's going to give it another shot. He's on the outside of Mike Darn. Deke McCaskill right there on the bumper of Darn as well. It's a 3-way for the lead. Normally you have to pay double for that kind of action, but here we're okay. Mike Darn's got the spot now. Barely clears Garrett Campbell, but Campbell's going to come back. It looks like Mike Darn's a little bit tight on the inside.
Mike Darn continuing to hold the point. There's contact at the second position. Deke McCaskill gets into the right, or rather left rear quarter panel of Garrett Campbell, moved him up the banking of turn 3. So Deke McCaskill, with the old bump and run, takes over the second position. A little early, I would suspect, for the bump and run.
R. Kelly will tell you there's nothing wrong with a little bump and grind, but right there is a little bit early for Deke McCaskill. He'll normally sit back, let a race play out, and then start charging late, but really uncharacteristic. He's motoring his way to the front. He's only got Mike Darr between himself and the lead.
So everybody at the front 9 begin to single file out just a bit, although they are literally nose to tail. If one person slips, we got the opportunity to pile up a bunch of race cars. That's how close they're running. Here's a challenge on the backstretch for 4th.
That's Brandon Brown to the inside of Jamie Caudill. Caudill's been running well on the outside. Brandon Brown has a win here. Strong on the inside. He knows this track very well. Ran a full season here. Once again, Jamie Caudill lets him go, but that means Matt McCall's got a shot at Caudill this time going into turn 3.
So Jamie Caudill hung up on the outside lane. He's fallen from 4th back to the battle for the 6th spot, and right now does not have the preferred line through the corners. He's stuck on the outside lane, doing a good job, however, running wheel to wheel with Matt McCall.
Two veteran drivers, both know this track very well. McCall on the inside in his black and yellow Denver Marine 51 machine on the outside in the SPC blue and white. Very familiar colors with Jamie Caudill. Side by side, Caudill just about clears McCall coming off of turn 2. Can't quite do it there. He'll give it another shot off of turn 4. Almost has him cleared, and every time they get off the corner, McCall gets right back to his bumper.
37 laps complete. Mike Darn, Deke McCaskill have opened up 8 car lengths on the 2 cars fighting for the 3rd and 4th positions. Another 4 car lengths back to Matt McCall, who's still side by side with Jamie Caudill.
The field single file most of the way through, but that battle for 5th is a good one. Matt McCall to the inside, Jamie Caudill to the outside. Jamie can't quite clear McCall. McCall can't quite clear Jamie Caudill. And if you look behind them, Greg Edwards, heck of a driver right behind him. He's right on both of their bumpers, waiting to see who goes. He's willing to go with them. You have Michael Rouse, Matt Boley, Matt Waltz, national champion Lee Pulliam, all stacked and packed right behind him. Side by side now for 3rd as well.
That battle for the 3rd spot heating up in turn 1. Brandon Brown has been on a consistent march to the front of the field. He'll go now to the inside of Garrett Campbell, and Brown has methodically worked his way into the top 3. He clears the Garrett Campbell car across the stripe. 41 laps complete.
Battle for the lead is now on. Deke McCaskill to the bumper of Mike Darn. Gives Darn a little bit of a tap off of turn 2. If you remember a few years back, a little tap like that off of turn 2 is what lost the race for Deke McCaskill. Got a little loose, got a tap from Jamie Caudill, spun and lost the race right there. This time around, though, he's on the back end. He's going to look low on Mike Darn going into turn 3. Nothing there. Darn slams the door again. McCaskill's quicker down the straightaway, but Darn looks like he's handling a little better through the corners.
They are beginning to catch the tail end of the field. Race leaders nose to tail. Terry Carroll sees them coming, dives for the bottom. Matter of fact, he goes to the apron of the racetrack to get out of the way and let these 2 race for the lead. Terry Carroll, the first to go a lap down under the green flag. 44 laps on the board. Next up will be John Livingston.
Battle for 6 right now. Greg Edwards, Langley Speedway champion, to the inside of Jamie Caudill. Caudill, again, not a guy that's going to push it hard early if he doesn't have to. Edwards is a little loose on the bottom, leans up on Jamie Caudill coming off of turn 4. He'll dive back into 1 and 2, side by side. Edwards again loose. He really needs a little more room than he's got. Has to get back in line to get around the Terry Carroll machine. Single file now most of the way through the machine of Terry Carroll.
Tommy Burbage now having a problem, and he'll take his Advanced Auto Parts Chevy to pit road to the attention of his crew. It's been a struggle for that Southern National regular this weekend, having all kinds of mechanical problems, but his race getting a little more sour by the moment. Lights around the racetrack about to come on, sun setting over turns 1 and 2. With that, the high temperature of 50 degrees is beginning to drop as well, and that will change the handling conditions here at the racetrack.
It really will, and we went out to qualifier last night. It was about 25, maybe 30 degrees. Really chilly, and there was no grip in the track. You got to wonder, though, now, the tires will be warm enough now by the time it gets cooled off. Until lap 100, we'll have halfway break of about 10 minutes. That's going to give the drivers a chance to get their cars all worked out. Also going to give the tires a chance to cool off, though. Won't be a lot of grip on lap 101.
Patrick Coleman going a lap down to the continued nose-to-tail freight train at the front of the field. Mike Darn leading the parade. Deke McCaskill second. Brandon Brown third. Garrett Campbell fourth. And Matt McCall is fifth.
Justin Snow makes it by Michael Rouse, and now Matt Waltz wants a little bit of that too. He gets a little bit loose coming off of turn 4. Seeing a lot of that. Guys trying to make a pass on the inside and can't quite stick it down there. Waltz is going to hold the inside of Michael Rouse, though. They're going to dive into turn number 3. Waltz has the advantage.
They are really getting with the program from 6th on back. That's where Jamie Cottle looks to be holding up the group. Greg Edwards is there knocking on the door. Matt Bowling, Lee Pulliam, Justin Snow, and Matt Waltz. They're all stacked up with Jamie Cottle.
Once again, Greg Edwards to the inside. He is loose trying this one time before. We'll see if it works this time, side by side in turn number 1. They come off of 2. Edwards sticks the landing this time, though. He's going to clear Jamie Cottle going into 3.
Cottle still stuck on the outside lane. That leaves the advantage on the bottom to Matt Bowling. Bowling sticks a wheel to the inside of Jamie Cottle's blue and white Southern Piping Company Chevrolet as they encounter lap traffic, and Jamie Cottle will use that as a pick to continue to hang on to the top spot. Just in front of Cottle, however, good hard run by Greg Edwards getting into the back of Matt McCall.
McCall, I don't know if he's backsliding or just pacing himself, but either way, that whole field is Jamie Cottle and everybody's caught him up. And now the 97 of Greg Edwards is battling for 5th. He's all over the back of Matt McCall.
Lap 56 is on the board out of the scheduled 200. Longest green flag run of the race we are in the midst of right now. It continues to be Mike Darn up front. He still looks in the rearview mirror and has a smiling Deke McCaskill literally right up underneath the rear spoiler as they close in on more lap traffic. Gary Causey just in front of the race leaders now. He'll be the next to potentially go a lap down. Also there is Woody Howard in car number 10.
Back up for 5th, Matt McCall holding up Greg Edwards a little. Edwards rising through 3 and 4. Gives him another tap going into 1. McCall finally gets up and out of the way. Move Greg Edwards to 5th, right behind Matt. Lee Pulliam to the inside of Jamie Cottle. He'll make that a very quick and easy pass. Move Pulliam up to 7th, Cottle back to 8th, coming on lap 60.
So Jamie Cottle continues his backslide through the field, currently running in the 8th spot, and that is about to change. Here's Justin Snow. He'll get up underneath Jamie Cottle and give Snow the advantage. Jamie is backsliding, and he's backsliding in a hurry. He has been stuck on the outside lane, which is essentially no man's land here, as Matt Bowling goes up underneath Jamie now. Cottle about to fall out of the top 10.
Matt Bowling to the inside of Jamie Cottle. Cottle still got the spot by a nose right now. Bowling leans up on number 2. They dive back into turn number 3. Cottle's really trying to pin him down and do something with him, but Bowling's a little too tough. He gets the run off of turn number 4.
Fantastic racing here at the Speedway. 62 laps go up on the board right now as we work our way towards the halfway point, lap 100. They will stop the cars on pit road for a quick break for the team to refuel the cars and make necessary adjustments to get set for the second 100-lap run to the big check. $12,000 to the winner here in the Thanksgiving All-Star Classic. 65 laps complete.
Back out front, Mike Darn, Deke McCaskill, Brandon Brown run 1, 2, 3, kind of by themselves on the track. 4th place, Garrett Campbell, just about 3 seconds back. That equals just about a full straightaway advantage right now. If Campbell looks in his mirror, he sees the 97.3, the Eagle Chevrolet of Greg Edwards. Edwards creeping up on him ever so quickly. Edwards is a guy, he likes to go and he's going to go. And if he feels his car is right, he's not going to sit back and wait. And he's creeping up to the 4th place driver, Garrett Campbell.
Sun setting, lights about to come on here at the racetrack. As the field continues to circle under the green flag, it's been a consistent Mike Darn advantage from the pole position. However, Deke McCaskill literally is still in every tire track as they work their way through lap traffic. Third place running Brandon Brown is right up underneath the back bumper of Deke McCaskill, working turns 3 and 4. Heavy traffic in front of the leaders again.
Slower traffic's again going to play a part. Mike Darn pins down to the bottom right in front of the 81 machine. McCaskill, though, stays right with him, gets a bumper to him, but again, isn't really in too much of a hurry to pass. Just wants to make sure Mike Darn knows he's there. Have one more slower car before they have a little more clean space again, and then it'll be the 27 car of Tommy Lemons next to possibly go a lap down.
Jamie Cotto has finally stopped dropping through the field. He has found himself running in the 11th position, has got a couple of car lengths between himself and the car behind him so he can catch his breath just a bit. And certainly his brother Jeff Cotto, who's been a long time late model crew chief, will make some adjustments to that race car in 30 more laps when we have the break. So 70 laps are complete out of the scheduled 200.
Lee Pulliam makes it around Matt McCall. That battle was for 6. Not much of a battle there, though. McCall just about tucked back in behind Pulliam once he got to the inside. McCall now has Justin Snow and Matt Boland stacked up behind him as well. They've got some slower traffic to negotiate the way by. Probably see him run nose to tail as long as they can. Pulliam's starting to stretch out away from Matt McCall. But Greg got a ways before Greg Edwards, although Edwards is also going to get stuck up behind some slower traffic. That's the 59 machine.
Traffic definitely an issue on the racetrack right now for the front runners. But you got to have slower race cars. If you didn't have slower race cars, you wouldn't know who the fast ones were. Simply how it works. Everywhere you look around the racetrack, Ken, you see double wide racing and race cars. There's very little open asphalt on the track right now, and that's why all these fans have paid the money to come to Southern National this weekend for this race.
Well, you know, we've seen other races this weekend with lots of cars on the track, and they haven't been nearly as well run. This is why these guys are the best at what they do. They can go out there and 1, 2, and 3 wide around this 17 degrees of banking, 4/10 mile track, and work their way through slow traffic without running everybody over. The slow cars are still slow, the fast cars are still fast. The difference is everyone in this group is kind of used to racing with each other. They know what they're coming up on 9 times out of 10.
And to be able to race the late model stock cars in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series, you have to understand how to race, period. It's awfully rare to find somebody who just jumps in a late model for the first time. Usually they're here for a couple of races and that's it, and they're back out of it. And this field we have here, we have the reigning 2012 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion. We've got the state champion from North Carolina here. We got all kinds of champions represented.
We really do. Missing the Virginia State champion, C.E. Funk, had a wedding to attend this weekend. Really wanted to be here, but couldn't. I believe he's out there listening online. Want to say hi to C.E. Meanwhile, we have a battle for fourth going on. Greg Edwards continuing his charge to the front. Gets to the inside of Garrett Campbell. Gets a little bit loose. He's got Lee Pulliam right on his bumper.
Gary Causey was a lap down. He's decided to peel off the racetrack and come down the pit lane to the attention of his crew. Obviously, the handling not where it wants to be right now, so Gary Causey heads back behind the wall. We continue to race under the green. 80 laps complete. It's Mike Darn leading every lap from the pole, but he has not run away whatsoever. Deke McCaskill, Brandon Brown, Greg Edwards, and Lee Pulliam now in the top 5. Garrett Campbell is 6th, Matt McCall 7th, Justin Snow is 8th. 9th would be Matt Bowling, 10th, Matt Walton. There's a challenge inside the top 5.
Battle for 4th with the quick one, too. Lee Pulliam makes it by Greg Edwards. Edwards slams the door on Garrett Campbell, who tried to find his way by as well. Pulliam, though, has got about 4 seconds between himself and Brandon Brown, who runs in 3rd. Brown kind of found himself a nice little place to ride all by himself while he watches the leaders keep running nose to tail. They've got a lot of slower cars ahead of them. About 17 laps of the halfway break. Not sure how many of those cars are going to catch up, because just a lot of hard racing all the way around the track.
You have to wonder just how hard Deke McCaskill's pushing it. He has literally been right on the back bumper of the race leader, Mike Darn, the entire race, letting Mike Darn be the fullback, if you will, to open up the holes for them to go through around the traffic. It's a smart drive right now for both Mike Darn, the leader, and Deke McCaskill riding in the 2nd spot.
Sometimes you need somebody to open up a hole for you right there, and who doesn't love a good open hole as much as me? Mike Darn's got the spot, still on the lead. McCaskill just riding along. McCaskill's been known to be very, very patient. kind of roughed his way up toward the lead, but hasn't even tried to make a move since then. You have to figure he's letting Darn set the pace. He knows how fast he can go. Doesn't really want to go that fast just yet. Looks at the inside of Darn right quick. Darn slams the door very quickly, though. Coming up on about 15 to 20 cars, all nose to tail right in front of them.
Hope you're enjoying what you're hearing and seeing here at Southern National. We're kind of doing three things at once. The track public address system, and that is fed through all of the luxury boxes here throughout the entire front straightaway. So we welcome everybody who's paid their hard-earned money to come out and watch some racing. Thanks also to everybody listening on the radio, 99.7 WSNS. Glad you guys have tuned us in. If you're traveling home from your Thanksgiving holiday up and down Interstate 95, we encourage you, swing on by and say hello. We're just off of I-95 in East Central North Carolina. And certainly everybody listening around the United States on the internet, welcome everybody to Southern National Motorsports Park in Kinley, North Carolina. I'm Alex Hayden alongside Ken Childs. 34 cars took the green flag. The attrition rate has not been very high. Only 4 cars out of the race. Chad Kendrick, one of those. Thomas Burbage, one. Terry Carroll is out of the race as well. And what we've seen is about as clean a first 91 laps as you can expect, Ken.
Just a couple things early on. Cars stacked up. Someone gets a little loose and someone's going to get punted, but I got a feeling the next 100 laps aren't going to be quite as clean and friendly as this has. You've seen a lot of give, a lot of take, and a lot of people just wanting to kind of ride and get to that point where they see what they have and they know what they can try to do with the guys in front of them. Sometimes you don't have to have a whole lot of race car to win a race as long as everyone else makes mistakes in front of you. That's kind of what Brandon Brown's trying to do right now. He's been running the same times as Deke McCaskill and Mike Darn, just cruising by himself in third and not letting him get caught of anything going in front.
So we continue to circle under the green. 94 laps complete. We're 6 laps away from halfway. They will take a halfway break of 10 minutes to make adjustments to the cars and refuel them. And then they'll bring them back on the racetrack to run the final 100 laps. It has been an outstanding race. It's been the pole sitter Mike Darn since the drop of the green flag. But now as I say that, here's a challenge for the race lead. With 4 laps before halfway, Deke McCaskill goes to the inside of Mike Darn, wheel to wheel for the lead off turn 2. Crossover move as Deke McCaskill takes the top spot away. Mike Darn comes right back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Chevy Ford battle for the top spot. It's Deke McCaskill up front. Mike Darn and his Ford Fusion falls in line and rides second. Again, heavy lap traffic in front of the leaders. Tommy Lemons Jr., John West Townley, they sit just in front of the race leader, Deke McCaskill, as they cross the start-finish line and put lap number 98 on the scoreboard. McCaskill, the leader. Mike Darn, your pole sitter, has led the first 96 laps of the race, has dropped the pace significantly. He is some 10 car lengths behind the race leader, Deke McCaskill. Lap number 99 on the board. They will have the mandatory caution flag once lap number 100 is complete. We are indeed halfway there, and the caution flag flies. Mandatory caution on the speedway here at lap 100. And an impressive run for Deke McCaskill to open up the inside lane on Mike Darn to take the top spot away on lap number 96. So, Darn, your pole sitter, sits in the second position. Brandon Brown is third. National champion Lee Pulliam sits fourth. Greg Edwards, your reigning track champion up at Langley Speedway in Hampton, Virginia, sits in the number 5 position. Garrett Campbell is 6th. Matt McCall is 7th. Justin Snow is 8th. Matt Bowling 9th. And Matt Waltz sits in the number 10 position. Crews can now begin working on their race cars. And they are all over, thrashing on most of these race cars down on the pit lane, jacking up left sides, jacking up the right sides. I see spring rubbers going in on some of these race cars.
How's your car been working toward the front? What do you have to do to win this race at halfway?
You know, I had to get out of that mess, man. It was a hornet's nest back there at 12th, and people were driving pretty crazy there. So had to back off a little bit, find me a hole, and just kind of methodically work our way through. I think we got a good hot rod here. We're going to make a couple changes and hopefully get this thing done.
Have you been able to find people that you want to ride with right now, or are you just kind of out on your own?
I hadn't been able to ride there until the very end, and you know, I hadn't really been pushing the issue either, so I think we got a good hot rod, got plenty of tire left, and should be a good show.
That's your national champion, Lee Pulliam. Was that the plan from the get-go, and how much car have you saved yourself for the second half of this race?
Not much, you know. I was wanting to get out front and clean air, and Mike was setting a pretty good, strong pace, and I saw his car getting freer and freer, and I was just kind of waiting, biding my time, but I wanted to get out front and halfway, get out in clean air, and think this car was going to work even better, but no, man, we're 100% tonight, man. I think it's cool weather, track's fast, tire wear is good, so we're going after it.
You're the state champion and the track champion. How important is it for you to finish the season off with a win here at Southern National?
Oh, it capped off a tremendous season we've had this year, but needless to say, we've had a great year. Whatever happens, but everybody knows we've got a strong car here tonight, and we just hope we can capitalize on it and bring this thing home to the checkered flag, man.
That's the current leader and state champion, Deke McCaskill.
McCaskill will be the leader once we drop the green flag on the second half of this thing. Time is closing in on these guys to finish up all the repairs and working on the race cars down there. We are 5 minutes in, 5 minutes to go, halfway through.
Well, I was pushing it, you know, I wasn't all out, but, you know, once we caught the lap cars, I tried to lower the pace down, and next thing I know, he went up beside me, so he obviously wanted to run just as hard as I was. But, you know, I think we still got car left. You know, we got 100 to go. We'll be all right.
Do you have a pace that you've been trying to run all night, or are you just trying to stay ahead of Deke?
Well, I mean, it was not so much to stay ahead of Deke. It was just I was trying to run a pace, and then when we started catching lap cars, they were shuffling back and forth, so I really didn't want to mix it up with them. You know, and like I said, next thing I know, he said, oh, he's under you, so I had to let him go, and then I was just riding after that.
That's Mike Darn, currently running second, led the first 96 laps tonight, and sat on the pole.
We'll see if the deck shuffles at all here on this. McCaskill will go inside. Second place, Mike Darn will go outside. Third place, Brown to the inside. Lee Pulliam will give up his fourth spot and go to the inside as well. So that gives Greg Edwards the outside second row starting spot. Another car getting a bit of a jump will be Matt McCall. He'll jump from the 7th spot. Check that, he'll jump from the 8th spot up to the 6th spot on the lane choice with the orange cone.
Orange cone has worked out so well this year in short track racing. They went ahead and did that at Martinsville Speedway. Great reception to that. No more qualified at Martinsville either. You qualify to get into your heat race, but you have to heat race your way in. Great move out there from Martinsville Speedway. Put on a great show as always in their late model stock feature.
All right, race fans at this track, on your feet. 100 laps to go to decide the 2012 Thanksgiving All-Star Classic. Pace car behind the wall, here they come. Deke McCaskill, Mike Darn, green flag back in the air. And the drag race, the turn one is on. Deke McCaskill digging hard on the bottom. Mike Darn pedaling as hard as he can on the outside lane. He'll slip in turn two. Here's Brandon Brown challenging for the second spot.
Brandon Brown to the inside of Mike Darn. They're side by side, stacked up 3 wide, way back in the field there. Matt waltzed into the wall, tried to back out of that, ended up tapping the wall. Good little dent on the side of that car. He appears to be okay, though. Back up for second place. Brandon Brown to the inside of Mike Darn. Lee Pulliam riding in fourth, waiting to see who goes where. He's got Garrett Campbell to his inside. Garrett Campbell tucks back in behind. Greg Edwards down to his outside. Brown gets a spot for second. Darn back to third, and he's going to get a challenge from Lee Pulliam going into 3.
Lee Pulliam took a peek to the inside. Mike Darn's car washes up the banking, leaves the inside lane open. Here's the silver and blue Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Lee Pulliam diving to the bottom of the racetrack. The challenge for third is on, and it is complete by the time they get to turn 3. Advantage Lee Pulliam, he'll go to third. Mike Darn will be shoved back to the number 4 spot.
Darn's not done yet. He's got a challenge from Garrett Campbell. The only thing that's keeping him from that is that Garrett Campbell's got Greg Edwards all over his bumper. Meanwhile, back behind that, Matt Bowling to the inside of Matt McCall. That battles for 7th.
Jamie Caudill is falling further down the running order. John West Townley gets by. Caudill now finds himself running 14th on the racetrack, and his car not handling anywhere near the way he would like for it to. Unlike the race leader, Deke McCaskill, Kenny's opened up a half a straightaway advantage.
That equals out to about 1.5 seconds on the clock. Lee Pulliam starting to close in on Brandon Brown. Meanwhile, Blake Jones has worked his way all the way up in that Marcus Ambrose Motorsports machine. He's got the 17. He got Mark McFarland right behind him. McFarland looks to his inside. Can't do anything with him yet. Blake Jones 8th. McFarland 9th. Matt McCall back to 10th.
Blake Jones from Sevierville, Tennessee, is giving that Marcus Ambrose late model a pretty good run. He's now worked his way to 8th. He's single file right now. Mark McFarland is behind him. Matt McCall behind him. The Sport Clips entry, the 07 car of Austin Self, the young man from Texas, got into the back of McCall and has wrinkled up the hood and is bowed up in front of the windshield.
Not just that, but he's also got Justin Snow to his outside. Justin Snow knows his track very well. Snow's been making the outside work pretty well, not really willing to back down. Austin Self, though, starting to try to pull away. Snow equals it back up, going into 3. They come off of turn 4. Self just about clear Snow, and Will going into turn 1.
Cars beating and banging all over turn number 4. It was Michael Hart and John West Townley. They're still 3 wide in turn 1. Everybody, I don't know how, but got away unscathed.
Great job by John West Townley holding his own on the bottom there. Hardin, though, might not be too happy with it. Gives Townley a little bump coming off of turn 4. Shoves him down the front stretch. They get into turn 1. Again, Hardin all over the back of John West Townley. Got to pay dinner for that kind of thing normally, being that far up. Spin over in turn 4.
It is the 0 car of Justin Snow who spun. Great job by Chris Bowen in the KC Colored Chevrolet to dive hard left onto the pit lane at full speed to avoid the spinning Justin Snow car.
Thought he'd have another very characteristic Jamie Caudill-like run up front, hang around and make a charge at the finish, but he just doesn't appear to have the car there today. This time by, Mike Hare waves everyone on by. Woody Howard comes by. He's the last car on the lead lap. Pace car scoots ahead, pulls back on the pit road. Field rolling through turn 3 and 4 right now. They're going to come off of turn 4. Mike Hare's got the green flag. Field stacks up behind Deke McCaskill. Green flag back in the air, and we're back underway. Deke McCaskill clears Brandon Brown going into turn 1. Brown's got Lee Pulliam to the inside fender. They're going to come off of turn 2 just like that.
McCaskill will open up a car length advantage. They're stacked up side by side for second. Here comes your reigning national champion. Lee Pulliam will take over position number 2 after a quick bump and run put on Brandon Brown, who's still stuck on the outside lane.
Brandon Brown couldn't quite tuck in front of Garrett Campbell. Garrett Campbell now to the inside. Garrett Campbell's won at Rockingham. He's won at Myrtle Beach Speedway, but he's got a heck of a challenge by Greg Edwards, shoving him down the front stretch.
Edwards getting racy. Laps beginning to dwindle. There are 70 to go. 70, make that 71 laps to go. Edwards makes contact with Brandon Brown. Second time in as many laps that Brandon Brown has been roughed up in the left rear quarter panel. And Greg Edwards in the Eagle 97.3 entry goes up to the 4th spot.
Side by side right behind him now, Mike Darn to the inside of Brandon Brown. Not quite as rough with a young driver as some of the other guys have been, but they're still side by side. Darn to the inside, Brown to the outside. Darn looks a little bit tight there, doesn't want to drift up into Brown. They stay side by side going into turn 3.
This is the battle for the number 5 position. Brandon Brown hanging tough on the outside lane in that Dodge. Working hard down to his inside. Mike Darn, who slides up in front of him. There's contact, and Brandon Brown goes around on the front bumper of Matt Bowling. Jamie Caudill gets a piece of it. There's debris flying all over turn number 2. The front left fender of Jamie Caudill's Chevrolet goes flying up against the outside wall and slides back down to the middle of the racetrack. And Jamie Caudill is on pit road, and a bad night has gotten even worse for Caudill. Same also for Brandon Brown. As Deke McCaskill, the leader, takes the inside, Lee Pulliam will go to the outside lane. Things continuing to shuffle up just a bit at the front of the field. Mike Darn, your pole sitter, will go from 5th up to the 4th position on the restart.
And we see Blake Jones going back up in that Marcus Ambrose Motorsports machine. Not sure how much he's going to have left in that car by he's done. Tires have just got to be worn all the heck. Working through all that traffic. Sure, he's had the cone to help him out a little bit, but the cone only does so much. You got to have a little bit of a talent, a little bit of race car underneath you too.
34 cars started. We're down to 32. So yeah, that's an impressive stat. You expect more, and that's just a testament to, or a testament, I should say, to the caliber of drivers we have out here on the racetrack. Here's the green flag. We're racing again. Deke McCaskill the inside, Lee Pulliam on the outside lane as they head off turn 2 for the backstretch.
3 wide down the backstretch. That's all sorts of, almost 4 wide back there. Chris Bowen's going to be the big winner out of that. Matt McCall gets really, really loose. Field stacks up behind him. 3 wide back down the front stretch.
Tony Grady, an aggressive move, hammered Matt McCall, sent him all the way up against the outside wall. We stay under the green flag. McCall able to get back on the throttle. Meanwhile, we've got Matt Bowling, who's got sheet metal flying in the air off the right front of his race car. The hood beginning to flap. He's stuck on the outside lane mid-pack.
Back up just a little ways. Chris Bowen's got 7th. Blake Jones wants him. Blake Jones to his inside. Side by side off of turn number 4. Marcus Ambrose Motorsports driver on the inside of the KC Colors machine. Bowen, great run off of turn number 2, but still Blake Jones has got him to the inside.
Blake Jones sticks a nose out in front of Bowen, and by the time they exit turn 4, he will in fact take over the number 7 position. So starting dead last on the field after an engine change, the Marcus Ambrose Motorsports drivers got himself up into the 7th position.
Trouble for Woody Howard. He's come limping by our spot high above the start-finish line. Black flag in the air for Matt Bowling. His right front fender is flapping in the breeze. His foot's flapping in the breeze. If he's got it, it's flapping in the breeze right now.
Challenge and change for the 2nd spot. Here's Garrett Campbell on the outside lane pin, doing it the hard way around the reigning national champion Lee Pulliam. Does he pull it off on the backstretch?
He does not. Lee Pulliam gets the spot. He's going to pin down right in front of Garrett Campbell. They come off at turn number 4. Campbell can't keep pace with the 2012 NASCAR national champion. Back through the field, you got Tony Grady on the outside of Brandon Brown. Brown side by side with Grady off of turn 2. Meanwhile, Matt Bowen still getting the black flag, refusing to pull in, waiting, hoping for a caution, not looking like he's going to get it.
Well, Kenny wasn't able to get down to the bottom of the racetrack with the whole single file line of traffic down in the bottom. He could not get to the pit lane. Finally, this time he does answer the black flag, and the crew will have to just rip that sheet metal away. So a good top 10 run going for Matt Bowling will go out the window here on lap 148. We're just a couple of laps shy from having 50 laps to go, and usually when you've got anything saved, it's time to push the button and get at it.
As you see that, Tommy Levens Jr. to the inside of
Cliff Daniels working hard there.
As John West Townley, both their cars painted just about identical. One's a 99, one's a 09. Townley gets really loose off the nose of Tommy Levens Jr. Both of them save it, both of them keep going. Townley has the spot. John West Townley now all over the bumper of Matt Waltz. Waltz is going to try to hold him back. Drifts up the track just a little bit. Townley to his inside. They give a little bit of a bump, and they're side by side down the backstretch.
Good racing in the middle of the pack, as we look back at the front of the field. Race leader is Deke McCaskill. He's got 5 car lengths on Lee Pulliam, who in turn has about 10 car lengths now on Garrett Campbell, who's beginning to fade just a bit. But the leaders are beginning to catch the tail end of the field where all of that hard racing is going on.
Looking at the time in his scoring, Pulliam's about a tenth quicker every lap on Deke McCaskill. And around here, that's not a whole lot of time before he catches him. The thing about it, though, McCaskill's done this before. He gets a big lead and then starts to back off to let his tires cool just a little bit, lets the other people work up to think they got something for him. And then the last 15, 20 laps will just check out. Might be doing that, but he's going to have a lot of slower traffic up ahead of him in a hurry.
I don't know what more a fan could ask for if you're a late model fan. You've got the 2012 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion in Lee Pulliam racing against the 2012 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series North Carolina state champion in Deke McCaskill at the front of the field right now in the biggest race of the season.
A little bit of beating him, banging back in the field. Greg Edwards has 4th place. Mike Darn wants to get back up toward the front. Gives Edwards a little top going into turn number 3. They come off at turn number 4. Edwards still has a spot. Darn not really able to find anywhere to go. Don't want to spin Edwards or anything like that. Darn's a pretty clean driver. You never really see him try to force his way up to the front. Pretty happy right now in the top 5 for Mike Darn.
158 laps now go up on the scoreboard, closing in on the finish of the 200-lapper. It is Deke McCaskill, it's Lee Pulliam. They're nose to tail. They work their way through the back markers. Warning right now, turns 1 and 2 on the outside lane. It's Deke McCaskill's really doing a good job, Ken, right now, threading his way through the traffic.
And he's going to have to do a lot better job than that, though. Little bits of traffic here and there, and he's got a whole hornet's nest right up ahead of him. We've got Gary Causey Jr., Thomas Burbage, Michael Rouse, Austin Faxon, Cliff Daniels. A lot of good cars right ahead of him there. And Lee Pulliam is either chasing hard or stalking. It's kind of hard to tell which right now.
Gary Causey will be the next driver whose fate may be decided here in just a moment, whether he stays on the lead lap or goes a lap down. As a matter of fact, he's already 1 lap down. He could potentially go a 2nd lap down. He's racing hard, however, right in front of the leaders. They cross the start-finish line. Lap 161 goes on the board. 39 laps to go. Deke McCaskill getting impatient behind Gary Causey.
McCaskill up to the top side of Causey. He's going to go up and around that way. That's how they ask people to do it at the drivers' meeting. And that's what Causey does. He gets to the bottom. McCaskill goes up to the top. McCaskill's got Michael Rouse next, but Rouse is racing with Thomas Burbage, Cliff Daniels, Nate Monteith, Austin Faxon, a whole bunch of guys. Monteith really loose off the turn 4, saves it just in front of everybody, right in front of the leaders. Monteith back to the bottom, but right in front of Deke McCaskill.
Deke McCaskill, Lee Pulliam, literally nose to tail in heavy traffic. Nate Monteith to the bottom, 3 wide. Michael Rouse in the center. The race leader, Deke McCaskill, on the outside lane. They all get through turns 3 and 4.
Kelvin Monteith, he's on pit road. He's limping down pit road. He's going to probably be effectively done for the night. If he comes back on the track, he's going to be many, many laps down. He pulls in those first. That's your Tennessee State champion. He's done for the night. Back out front is Deke McCaskill, trying to thread his way through slower traffic. Also trying to pedal ahead of Lee Pulliam. Pulliam letting McCaskill just punch his way through all of this traffic. Still a lot of cars on the track. Not used to this many cars with only 35 laps to go.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm impressed with both leader Deke McCaskill and second place Lee Pulliam. Ken, they've been able to run the outside lane. They've been able to dive for the bottom. They both have very equal handling race cars working their way through this heavy, heavy traffic. Thomas Burbage and Cliff Daniels now sit just in front of the leaders.
And this is the kind of thing you want to see in your last late model stock race of the year. Nothing but good hard racing all the way through the field. Thomas Burbage to the bottom. McCaskill goes up and around him. Cliff Daniels to the bottom. McCaskill will go up and around him as well. He gets to move over flags. He'll do just that.
Cliff Daniels with a little sheet metal flying in the wind on the left side of his race car will fall a lap down. McCaskill will get by. Lee Pulliam will get by. Further back is the third place running car of Garrett Campbell. He is 4.8 seconds behind the duo racing for the lead. That equates to about a straightaway and a half on the racetrack.
I want to give him a little shout out to Michael Harden, who sat there awful couple days. Didn't qualify well, didn't heat race well, didn't last chance race well, barely made it into the race. He's worked his way all the way up to 15th after changing just about everything they could on the car. Good run for him, but up front, Steve McCaskill, Lee Pulliam, still nose to tail, as they've been now for about 30 or 40 laps.
29 laps to go. 29 to go as lap 171 goes up on the board. It's continuing to be Deke McCaskill, although he is being seriously pestered from behind by Lee Pulliam for the moment. They have some clean racetrack in front of them. About a half a straightaway is what they have before they catch the next wave of back markers in turn 2.
Back this a little bit. Greg Edwards has made it past Garrett Campbell. He's up to 3rd right now. Mike Darn the 4th. Garrett Campbell the 5th. Mike McFarland back down to 6th. Side by side behind them, that's the 8 of Blake Jones. He's underneath Chris Bowen. He'll make it by. Bowen now right onto his bumper. They're really stacked up there from about 3rd on back.
Time beginning to dwindle down as we have got great racing all the way around the racetrack, especially from mid-pack on back, Ken. These guys are really getting after it. 2 and 3 wide racing is the norm here on this high bank 4/10 mile racetrack. It is phenomenal.
Mark McFarland looks to the inside of Mike Darn. Darn's got nowhere to go. He's got the slower 99 machine. Can't get the
trouble on the back straightaway. The race leaders are involved. Both Lee Pulliam and Deke McCaskill wreck on the backstretch. They got involved with one of the lapped race cars. Deke McCaskill went up in the air, came back down on all fours, went nose first to the inside retaining wall. Second place, Lee Pulliam ricocheted off of him, bounced off the outside wall. The leaders in trouble. They both wreck on the backstretch trying to lap Austin Self, the young driver from Texas in the Sport Clips entry. Stayed in the middle of the racetrack and moved up at the very last minute and clipped the race leader, Deke McCaskill. Sent McCaskill straight up in the air. He came back down on all fours, slammed into Lee Pulliam. Both drivers careened off the outside wall and then both slid back down and made hard contact with the inside wall. Both of the leaders are out of the race. Deke McCaskill out of the race car, takes the helmet off, takes the Hans off, walking down the pit lane towards that race car. Certainly calm, cool, and collected. And here's Austin Self coming out of the trailer. He and Deke McCaskill face to face as they calmly talk about what happened. Austin trying to describe his side of the story. Deke McCaskill trying to give his opinion as well. And Deke McCaskill standing a good 6'2". 15-year-old Austin Self, well, he's looking up at him, standing a solid 5'2". So it's essentially a one-sided conversation down there. It was peaceful. It was calm. Self stays at his race car.
Matt McCall back up to 10th. Michael Rouse will be your free pass car as they come to the cone.
The orange cone is out. Greg Edwards goes to the inside. Just about everybody, no real major shuffle except for Bowen. Chris Bowen in car number 80 was 5th. A couple of cars went to the bottom. He went to the outside, so he'll restart 4th now on the outside of the 2nd row. We come to the line. Lap number 183 will go on the board. We got the signal 1 to go next time by.
17 laps to go. Great racing up ahead. Greg Edwards, Mike Darn, pace cars off. Mike Hare's got the green flag. He waves it in the air, and we are back underway.
Oh, and Mark McFarland gets moved out of the way on the restart. They're 3 wide in turn number 1. McFarland at the bottom. Everybody else scampering to the outside. Still 3 wide on the racetrack on the backstretch. McFarland is off the pace, headed to pit road. A heartbreaking return of events for Mark McFarland. Meanwhile, the front 3 get away. Then 2 car links back to side-by-side battle for 4th.
3 wide back there for that. Josh Oakley and Blake Jones, 2 number 8 side by side. They had Brandon Brown taking a 3 wide. Brown wisely backed out. Blake Jones up to 4th place right now on the inside of Josh Oakley. Where did Oakley come from tonight?
Josh Oakley digging hard on the outside lane. Brown working on the inside, wheel to wheel for the 4th position. Just in front of them, they watch 3 cars literally nose to tail across the stripe. 187 laps on the board.
Battle for the lead. Rangers on, back for 4th. Pride of Rougemont, North Carolina. Josh Oakley on the outside. Blake Jones to the inside of the Marcus Hammer's Motorsports number 8 machine. Brandon Brown keeps wanting to try to make it 3 wide, keeps thinking better of it, but he's right on the bumper of Blake Jones.
At the front of the field, it continues to be Greg Edwards. Mike Darn gives him a shot in the caboose in turn 4. He wiggles, he straightens it back out. Darn lets him go. It continues to be Edwards. 11 laps to go.
Mike Darn's hungry. He wants to win like this. He's been doing great at Martinsville. He did well here. Chris Bowen is hungry. If I'm Chris Bowen right now, I'm sitting back letting that happen and letting it play out. 10 laps to go this time by.
Field working back to turns 1 and 2. Greg Edwards showing the way. Mike Darn is second. Chris Bowen, his first ever time at this racetrack, sits third. Then 1 car length back to the 4th place running Blake Jones. Brandon Brown, this field is literally nose to tail all the way around.
Racing everywhere on the track, the front 3 nose to tail. Greg Edwards starting to try to pull away a little bit from Mike Darn. Chris Bowen riding back, waiting to see what happens. Have a feeling there might be some late lap shenanigans out here. There tends to be at this racetrack. Darn looking high, looking low, unable to find anything where Greg Edwards is at the moment.
Back across the stripe, 7 to go. Time is precious. When will the move come from Mike Darn? Will Chris Bowen have anything to say about the win? Is Greg Edwards a sitting duck? Contact again between turns 3 and 4 with the front 2. Everybody keeps them pointed in the right direction. They're back in 1.
Greg Edwards has looked loose time and time again off the corner. Mike Darn's been checking up to let it go. Back for third, side by side. Blake Jones to the inside of Chris Bowen. Bowen stuck. He gets loose off of turn number 3. Slides it up the bank and comes to a stop. Everyone else scampers John West Townsley into the back of Harrison Roads. Hard wreck right there. Tough break for Chris Bowen. Looks like he may have cut a tire down. He was slowing up. Someone got in the back of him and up the track he went.
What a turn of events. 195 laps on the board. 5 to go for the Thanksgiving All-Star Classic. Crashes of the race. He's up to the 9th position after a free pass. And Matt McCall's had a rough night, finds himself in the back half of the top 10.
Running 11th, Cliff Daniels. He's had a rough night. He's got all sorts of bent up sheet metal. Michael Hardin's had a whole weekend of awfulness. Somehow he's worked his way up to 12th. A lot of good racing, a lot of good work on his car right there. Keith Bumgarner, Michael Rouse, Matt Waltz, John West Townsley, Dylan Bassett, Austin Thaxton, John Livingston, and Gary Causey round out your top 20.
We're getting ready to get the cone put on the track, but a car has just slammed the outside wall up in turn number 3. Trying to get the sheet metal off the right-hand side of the car, scraping along the outside wall to avoid a black flag. That is Brandon Brown. I don't think it's going to work consistently. They've made him go to the cars go to the pits with the sheet metal flying in the air. So the orange cone is in the middle. It'll be Greg Edwards on the inside lane. Green-white checker, lights on top of the Deacon Jones Auto Park. Dodge Charger pace car are out. Bushy takes that car back behind the wall. Here we go. Green-white checker, attempt number 1. Green flag in the air. And they're spinning already. One car hard on the inside, retaining wall, and the caution flag flies immediately. Brandon Dean was running in the 5th position, got turned immediately. It was a chain reaction set of events because Brandon Brown had sheet metal hanging off the right front corner of his race car, pulled to the outside, did not come up to speed, and everybody had to take evasive action. And Brandon Dean got turned, slammed the inside retaining wall. He's got significant damage to the back of his car. It looks like he'll be making his way back around the racetrack. Oh, they just made contact over there, and they're wrestling with each other on the back straightaway. Brandon Dean and Brandon Brown bouncing off of each other. Dean not happy at all with Brandon Brown on that last restart. Brandon Dean put it in gear, drove all the way back around the track, slammed into the right side of Brandon Brown's car. But I got to tell you, it was an effective maneuver if you're a Brandon Brown fan. Reason being, well, that dangling sheet metal is no longer there. We will give you the official running order. Now, indeed, Brandon Dean, the car who wrecked and was passed by the majority of the field, will not be in the 5th position, as they give each other a wave, if you will. Mike Darn, who was 2nd, is on the pit lane. Mike Darn, 2nd place car, has come to pit road, and he has given up the 2nd spot on the racetrack. So under this exchange, the 2nd place car comes to pit road under the red flag, and the crew is pushing it down the pit lane. Tough break for your pole sitter, the guy who led the first 96 laps of this race, Mike Darn. Well, Ken, as we can see from on top of the tower, they are refilling the car with gas. It looks like Mike Darn has run out of gas. They have put another tank of gas inside the race car, but he, however, has to give up his 2nd position. The car refires. The orange cone is out. Here's how things stack up. The orange cone is out. Brandon Dean in the 5 car thinks in his mind he is 4th on the racetrack. However, he is not. He's the one who wrecked and blended in at the back of the field, that he thinks he should keep the 4th position. NASCAR says no, they have taken him off the official scoring. So Brandon Dean no longer being scored, even though his car being shown in the 4th spot. The 5 car has been disqualified. The 5 car has been disqualified. He is no longer being scored. He is supposed to fall in at the tail of the field. He refuses to do so, and this could mix things up at the front of the field for the win. If Brandon Dean decides to not cooperate, and here he is now, Brandon Dean pulling out of line, and will let the entire field go by as we've just gotten the 1 to go signal. Greg Edwards the leader, Blake Jones 2nd, Josh Oakley is 3rd, Tommy Lemons Jr. 4th, Brandon Brown is 5th. Then you've got Tony Grady, Cliff Daniels, Justin Snow, Michael Hardin, and Matt McCall. Green, white checker. The 5 car is in its proper running order right now. The 5 car Brandon Dean is proper running order. This is green, white checker 2, correct? 2nd green, white checker is in the air. Here we go. Green flag. Greg Edwards off to the races. To turn 1 he goes. He'll leave the field there. Quickly, Blake Jones snaps in line. He'll take the 2nd position away. Down the backstretch and into turn 3. Off the corner, white flag in the air. The race is now official. Greg Edwards is the race leader. The Langley Speedway track champion has a car link from Blake Jones. Nobody able to do anything with him. They're side by side. The 3 wide on the back straightaway. As they exit turn number 4, checkered flag in the air, and Greg Edwards with the left hand out the window, flipping the fist, will win the Southern National Motorsports Park Thanksgiving All-Star Classic. Congratulations, Greg Edwards in the Eagle 97.3 Chevrolet has picked up the win after a crazy turn of events in the final 35 laps of this race. Blake Jones will finish 2nd. Josh Oakley is 3rd. Tommy Lemons Jr. is 4th, and rounding out the top 5 will be Brandon Brown. Cliff Daniels finished 6th. Michael Hardin was 7th. Justin Snow was 8th. Michael Rouse finished in the 9th position, and Matt McCall 10th. Ken Childs, have you seen anything like this in late model racing in your life?
You know, Alex, when we come out to Southern National Motorsports Park, you expect a whole lot of shenanigans from time to time. As I give Greg Edwards a checkered flag, you see a lot of things in motorsports, and this is the first time I've seen such a race and so much going on. Leaders taking out, Greg Edwards getting the win, Jones going all the way up to 2nd, Oakley to 3rd. Great run for all those guys. Just amazing racing throughout the field. A great night at Southern National Motorsports Park, and a great win for Greg Edwards.
Doing the Polish victory lap around this racetrack is Greg Edwards. Checkered flag out the driver's side window as he salutes the race fans all the way around the trackside. and the fans who have jam-packed the stands here at the racetrack. Greg Edwards, his black Chevrolet Monte Carlo with the red number 97 on the side of it, the Eagle, the FM 97.3 as his sponsor, will stop his car in victory lane and claim the $12,000 check for winning the 2012 Thanksgiving All-Star Classic. Let's go trackside right now to Ken Childs.
Greg Edwards didn't need to lead them all, just he needed to lead the last few. Had a little bit of help, and that's all he needed. He's won at Langley, and now he's won this Thanksgiving Classic here at Southern National Motorsports Park. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Edwards. Greg, amazing run out there. Heck of a race. Battled through a whole lot of traffic, a whole lot of hard racing. How'd you get up here to win tonight's race?
Man, we just had a lot of patience, a lot of hard work. First off, I got to thank God for getting to see this weekend, man. We got to this racetrack Friday. This car was absolutely awful. When I say bad, I mean we're gonna be lucky to make the race. We rolled in yesterday morning, put the car on the scales, changed the whole race car, every spring, every shock, every mechanical part on this car. And it went out first practice, and we were fastest first practice and second fastest second practice. And we messed up a little bit in qualifying, but I knew from the get-go we had a car to win this race. The car was turned to center real good. Got a little bit tight later, but then it came on at the end. I just, like I said, I got to thank God, thank this crew. Thank you, James Long, for letting me drive his car. Danny's Glass, Eagle 97, Crossroads Fuels, Race Wrap. I mean, everybody makes this thing go. Thank you very much.
Where does this, you've won a lot of races. Where does this race rank in all of these wins?
It's got to be very high because of how bad we were yesterday, day before yesterday. I mean, literally, we were at the hotel room saying if we didn't get any better, we were going to pack it up and go home. That's how bad it was. So this is one story where perseverance pays off. I mean, you just keep working, never give up. And man, we turned it around, and just thank God for this crew.
Your winner tonight, $12,000, Greg Edwards. Folks, if you're still in the grandstand, stick around. Fireworks still to come. The very first driver we announced in driver introductions means he went off shotgun on the field. Blake Jones, you went from 35th to 2nd tonight. How'd you do it?
Jay Hedgecock did it for me. The spotter and Jay did everything. They made every move that we made tonight. Jay gave me a wonderful race car, and it deserved to be here in qualifying in the heat races. I'd just never been here before, and it was my fault from lack of experience. But 200 laps was plenty enough to get us there, and I can't thank Jay or Lloyd enough, especially Billy and Chad and Jamie for giving me this ride. You know, I got a call Friday morning telling me to come down here that David Garbo was sick. So where we started this weekend, missing all the practice pretty much to where we are right now, it was a pretty good weekend for us.
Blake, you worked through all this traffic, a lot of hard racing. How hard was it to get here?
Well, it wasn't as easy if we would have started in the front. We abused a lot of stuff to get to where we was at, and we didn't have as much left at the end as the people in front of us. I thought they was running out of gas and was just going to almost get one handed to us, but that's never the way it goes in this racing, and I would rather earn it the way that we did.
As Blake Jones finished second tonight after a hard-fought run, another driver who a lot of hard racing somehow makes his way up to third, Josh Oakley. Josh, when you unloaded this weekend, did you think you'd be sitting here in third place tonight?
No way, man. When we unloaded, I thought we wasn't even going to make the show.
What did you have to do to get up here? I mean, a lot of hard racing throughout the field. Where'd you come from?
Man, almost last, I think, there at halfway. We had never been here with this car. I hadn't been here in forever. And I told them I was just going, ride it out the first half because the car it was so loose I couldn't turn it down getting in. It was just spinning real bad coming off. And we made some big adjustments, put a bunch of crossing all in it halfway. And, man, it started coming to life. And I think if we could have got some really long runs that time, we'd have been even better than we were here. But, man, I just thank the Lord. Thank everybody that sponsors me. Steve Parrish Macer, that man stuck with me for several years now. He sticks behind me. Moe's Tavern out of Rougemont, North Carolina, man, they come on board and helped us out a bunch. Mincy's Racing Graphics, he just keeps his car looking beautiful for me. Bowling Trucking, man, he's helped me out forever since I've raced. AJ's Automotive Service and Oakley's Automotive. And I hope I ain't forgetting nobody, but everybody that comes support me, everybody that helps me in the shop, all my crew, thank all them, man, because they do it all for free, and we're just out here doing the best we can do.
Great job tonight, Josh. Josh Oakley finishes third. Blake Jones second. Your winner tonight of the Southern National Thanksgiving All-Star Classic, Greg Edwards.